Have you ever wanted to improve your frame and your confidence and your game, so to speak, but kind of struggled with how do I actually do that? Maybe you've read all the books out there, No More Mr. Nice Guy, Irrational Male, and you've understood like, okay, I need to be more masculine and more edgy. If that's you, you're not alone. That's almost every guy out there. So on this episode, I'm super stoked to have Jake from Bitches Ain't Shit. He's one of the few masculine role models out there who's willing to say what everyone's thinking, but not willing to say in the face of feminism and the things in our culture that make standing up for men and talking about this stuff kind of taboo. These guys are hard to find. So I'm super excited for this interview where we get to learn about his inner workings. And he's one of the few, what I call naturals in the dating space. You know, most of the guys kind of learn this stuff, maybe similar to me. I've always been like a recovering nice guy, a guy who had to learn this stuff from a very, sheltered and naive background, whereas Jake is a natural. Stick around. We got a lot of awesome stuff to uncover, all the way from what men can expect out of a relationship these days. Is monogamy dead? Is the new wave of having 5 partners and acting like a king going to be the norm? So see you in the episode. You're listening to the Inner Confidence Podcast. My name is Robbie Kramer. I've been a coach since 2007, and I've helped countless men rapidly achieve all of their social and dating goals. My mission is simple: to help you position yourself to meet stunning women, make awesome friends, en route to becoming the most confident and attractive version you can possibly be. I'm absolutely obsessed with giving you the most leveraged ways possible to win the game, so stick around, let's go. So give us your history. I'm super interested in, where you started and how you became who you are today. Were you like me? Were you a simpy nice guy at some point?
No. So I was so just as a baby, my parents showed me these fucking patterns in my crib. They got from some psychology magazine. If you show your baby these patterns and you talk to them, and they built a mobile out of these fucking geometric patterns, and with the idea that it would make me a genius. And so apparently it worked. That with a combination of, they taught me how to read, write, and do math at 2 years old. So in kindergarten, I was copying the globe onto a piece of loose leaf because I was so bored. I mean, I vividly remember doing that. And so they triple promoted me to second grade. I had an IQ of 134. And my parents would always call me a fucking genius. They would call me their ace in the hole. Right. So I was just a kid. I didn't know if I was a genius. I just took their word for it. But as a kid,
Were you the only child?
No, younger sister.
Oldest?
I have a younger sister. But they would just tell me I was a genius. I didn't know. I was just a kid. I just took their word for it. So I had this fucking ego, and women like guys with a fucking ego who think that they're better than everyone.
Yeah.
So I was always just a funny asshole. But also it was I was always the shortest, smartest kid in my classes, so I always had something to prove. So I was always just very outspoken, always in trouble, always unafraid to say whatever the fuck I thought was funny.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically I wasn't really a people pleasing, but I kind of was gesture maxing as a fucking kid. You know what I mean? But but if you start gesture maxing that fucking young, you calibrate and you figure out what actually works.
It's so interesting you say that, because that's a very similar childhood as my buddy I was mentioning, and he's got a super high IQ. He was one of the tallest kids as well. He played a lot of basketball, so he's friends with all the black guys. And he lost his virginity at age 12.
Yeah, 13 for me. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and when I first met him, we met through a poker deal. We were both trying to start we both played online poker, and we were trying to.
Poker was huge back then.
Yeah, exactly. This is 2000.
Yeah, Chris fucking Moneymaker. Hell yeah, brother. Yeah.
Yeah. Spent a lot of time with Jamie Gold, if you know that name. He won the World Series.
Yeah, I do know that guy. That fucking guy. What a real punchable face on that guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But anyways, the guy I was talking about, he was banging girls when he was 12, 13, on the basketball team, hanging out with all the black dudes, who had swag and game. And after we met through poker and I told him about, the pickup industry, he was like, oh my God, what a bunch of fucking nerds. Look at these fucking dorks calling themselves pickup artists and this and that. And he was spot on, because at the time it was.
Oh, I didn't. So basically the second half of my story is that in 2014, I found RSD videos. I was like, bro, I just do all of this shit instinctively. I didn't think they were nerds. I just thought they were So but I thought everyone could do this. I thought I had a blind
Yeah.
spot that my internal reality was true for everyone. But what I didn't realize is that like I had like my lack of need for approval was like the number one fucking social currency that most people just really didn't have. So basically, I went from like unconscious competence to like conscious competence. I started learning the mechanics behind the magic.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys would call you a natural. What do you think of that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was a natural, and then and then once I started, I have a very obsessive fucking personality. So I'm pretty sure that I watched every single RSD video that existed. I binged them like I would fall asleep to them, wake up to them. So being a natural with paired with this like rabid consumption of game content now, and I never stopped consuming game content. So I'm kind of like a walking encyclopedia of game now.
Nice. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Owen Cook stuff that he's been posting recently.
The guy knows what he's fucking talking about.
He sure does. It's good to see him posting again because RSD went dark for a few years there, and
Yeah, he kind of like the story behind that. He took everyone's fucking videos down. He's like, well, I own all this fucking content. If you don't want to associate with the brand and go your own way, fuck you. That's my shit. You can't sell your product based off of my. So I mean, he's running a business that's very cutthroat and just the way it is. But yeah, I wish those RSD Julian videos were still up because I've tried to make bitches bark like a fucking dog, just like Julian used to. You know what I mean? I loved Julian and Jeffy.
yeah, the Jeffy show was great. So how old are you?
38.
Okay, I'm 43. Okay, so I got into this stuff when I was in like 2005-ish. What about you? When did you start?
2014.
2014. Okay, got it. Yeah, I think RSD kind of stopped kind of offering stuff around that time, right? Or 2017, 2018?
Yeah, 2016. I remember basically 2014 and 2016, I consumed every single fucking video they had. And then I was just doing games 6 days a week. And I was a bartender and I was going out 6 days a week for 3-4 years. And I racked up a huge lay count. That's when I started like kind of quote unquote working with John Anthony, basically just like talking about shit, basically like coaching people through Facebook groups and shit like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And so, yeah, I was living in Kiev, Ukraine at the time. Max Torno from RSD was there as well. I moved there in 2018 after being nomadic for a couple years, and I got fed up with Western women. Not that I didn't do well with them. I was partners in model houses, and we had a pretty crazy social circle funnel built.
They weren't even that bad back then.
No, it was wasn't there was no OnlyFans then. It was if girls wanted to be hoes, they were, out there being hoes. They weren't getting paid for it, more or less. So seeking arrangements came on the scene like right around, 2016. I kind of used that as a funnel into my, party trips and social circle, but it was so new at the time. So yeah, so tell me about so you're a bartender, obviously, and that tracks with being a natural. And after you consumed all those videos and, you're doing your thing, like what, I think I pretty much know your stance on relationships now, but I want to kind of hear it from you and I want to hear about your experiences there.
Look, man, I ate shit and got my heart broken a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just being a natural, I wasn't a full-blown sociopath, never have been. I would say that I'm much closer to one now. Just basically, it takes getting your fucking heart ripped out several times by women that you miscategorize. I would categorize women as this is the one that doesn't play games. This is the special one. And then eventually, if you don't live up to your end of the bargain, she defaults back to that evil female nature. Basically, it was just like trial by fire, learning that, okay, all women are like this. If you aren't leading her, and then it basically brought me to the realization that really how good a woman is, in my definition, is how well they can regulate their female nature. And that all depends on how well you lead her. So yeah, but my stance on relationships now are that I can have more than one girlfriend, and if I care about you, you can't have any more boyfriends. That's kind of just like the king's mentality. You know what I mean?
I think that's where most relationships kind of end up. If you've got a very masculine guy who isn't going to, take any shit, and, a girl who's in love with him, if he's like, it's my way or the highway, and she understands he's the best I can do, ultimately she's going to agree to whatever, gets to keep her in your life. And she'll typically be happy with that setup too.
Yep. Kevin Samuels talked about this. He said something like the bottom bitches that supported their man and knew their man would cheat and understood it and played their role as their main bitch. He said the ones that he met were all very beautiful, successful, educated Black women that just basically understood their place and supported their man and understood that their man literally did love them, but just needed variety due to his testosterone.
Yeah.
So women do understand this.
Yeah, they think they totally understand it and they get it. And I think as they get older, they start to understand it at a deeper level. Obviously, where you live and the culture can change things a bit with that. Have you primarily been in the U.S., Detroit area, or have you?
I haven't really left at all, really.
Okay, I haven't spent much time in Detroit. Did a little bit of game, I guess, in Chicago and ran a couple boot camps there. But
that's cool.
Yeah, my dad's from. My parents met at Ann Arbor.
Oh no shit!
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Midwest girls are they're nice, they're sweet, they're fun. I lived in New York for a while, and that was like the sort of, I don't know, I call it the epicenter of feminism. And you'd get all these girls who are, I graduated from Poughkeepsie University. I'm a lawyer, and I eat guys like you for breakfast, and it's just like, come on. Eventually they all sort of bend to your frame. But,
yeah, if you're that dude, yes, for sure.
Yeah. So when did you start posting content? Is Instagram your main channel? I want to kind of talk to you about how you ascended into sort of your coaching role and how you got into all that. And
I started posting under the moniker "Bitches Ain't Shit" on November 22nd, and I think my one reel about each second that passes. Each second that moves forward, she loses value. Second that moves forward, you gain value. What makes you think that you're so lucky you picked the best bitch out of 4 billion bitches? That was the first reel that I recorded. And that one went super mega viral. And I was literally...
And that was just last November?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have a bachelor's in mechanical engineering and an MBA. And I was about to get a fucking job. I was about to get an engineering job. Because before this, I was the 4th largest used camera dealer on Amazon. And they pulled the plug on my store. I did like $1.1 million in sales, 2024. They pulled the plug on my store because I'm an idiot, long story short. And I broke the rules. I was basically just like floating around, literally mooching off of women that I seduce. But then I was about to get a job, and then this reel popped, and then I was like, well, I have enough savings to keep myself afloat for maybe 4 months. I have to go all in on this thing. And then I literally just went all in on the thing, and I was posting about 20 reels a day for 90 days.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I felt I could sell a product, my background in e-commerce and being very tech savvy, I immediately had a website and a product for sale, and then it all just took off from there.
Amazing. Yeah. Congrats on the quick ascension to success in the...
Yeah, bro. I really fucking sunk my teeth into it, and I was kind of in a survival mode, so I had to make something happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you have such a polarizing voice, and it's a voice that needs to be heard. Recently, I've been working with one of my clients in the group, and he's just like a raging nice guy. And, I tell him to read The Rational Male, 3 times or whatever, but that book can be a little bit heady. Like the first time I tried to read it, I put it down. And 3 years later, when I got my heart, smashed by some chick at Burning Man, I was like, all right, I'll read it again. And then it took on a whole new meaning and kind of got to the deeper chapters and understood more about, female nature and hypergamy and all that stuff. But, I told this guy recently, just binge watch Jake's content. Like that's a better, download
all those ideas into like digestible, funny packages for dudes, for like the lay person. You know what I mean? I feel like it works. I found a voice that works.
Yeah. And are you able to just riff that stuff?
Hell yeah, bro.
Really?
Yeah,
Dude,
bro.
I'm
If
jealous. I wish I could
that's the
rip like
beauty.
that.
That's the
Yeah.
beauty of it, bro. Like I just have my phone on me. So first of all, I'm addicted to YouTube, bro. So I literally just consume so much fucking content. So I'll watch other people's content and then I'll be like, ooh, I can say that in a way better way, and I can add this little concept into it too. And I fucking do that and then repackage it and then boom, 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 and I just fucking spit it out and then record it. And I was doing 20 fucking reels a day. So
Amazing. And so how long does it take you to record those? Because if you're just kind of free flowing, or are you sitting down and like recording it as chunks, or are you just
So I use TikTok to record.
uh-huh.
So I like record a chunk and then I stop and then I record a chunk and I stop and then I port it to Adobe Premiere app and then I cut out all the spaces and I add my little fucking background music.
Yeah,
So
I like
it's real fucking quick.
the little like transition to use, like the punch sound. That's entertaining. I like that. Yeah.
When I started using the fucking Ocarina of Time background music and Final Fantasy VII background music, that started an era of like basically just like a lot more engagement. Some people that don't even give a fuck about what I'm saying, just here for the Final Fantasy VII music. You know what I mean?
Right.
So not only that, and like the fact that you can name me without naming me with the fucking Newport hoodie and the sword and the fucking whiteboard. You know, oh, have you
Yeah.
seen that guy with the fucking katana and the whiteboard talking about bitches? Like that, just being able, just having them be able to name me without naming me that's like a very key component for virality.
Right. Yeah. You're basically like a meme. You're a character.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. How'd you come up with the sword thing? And
Bro, I just had the sword. I literally just had the sword and I needed a pointer. And it literally just like fucking came together piecemeal. And it was not premeditated.
really,
You know?
I see some similarities with like the Casey Xander videos a bit.
Oh, so Casey Xander is my fucking idol, bro. Like, yeah, most of my view is Casey Xander.
Okay.
To be fair, most
Yeah.
of my views, look, me and Casey Xander agree on pretty much everything about game.
Right.
Like Casey Xander just really gets it in a way that most other dudes doing this kind of don't. Maybe I mean Rolo Tomasi gets it, but he's kind of a fucking old fart. Like
Yeah.
no offense to him. I'm not saying that he's dated. I mean outdated. I'm saying that he just ain't. I don't know. He's just not operating with. I would say he's just he handed the torch to dudes like Casey and I basically.
I feel like he's not as
all
relatable.
respect to him. Love the guy.
Yeah, I think you guys are more relatable for your sort of archetype. I kind of say you're like the more I don't know, outlandish Casey Xander, right?
I think that I'm just like I'm funnier and I'm funnier than him. I think that he has a more comprehensive understanding. Like his long form videos are really incredible. There's just so many fucking little nuggets that I have plucked out. Look, I've plucked out several little fucking nuggets that Casey Xanders talked about, and then I fucking just like turned them into my own shit because like I basically just see the world the same way that he does.
Yeah, you guys have an amazing gift of being able to verbalize a lot of these things in a way that's incredibly easy to understand and to just sort of take in, right? Because Rolo can talk about this stuff, but you know, you got to read a lot of text to kind of do it. You know, and the way that you speak in just like, you know, a very like, this is how it is. You know, even your whole thing, bitches ain't shit, you know? My buddy used to say that all the time. Like, dude, like, why are you tripping over this girl? Like, what has she done? Nothing. She was born hot and everyone sucked her dick because she's hot. She thinks she's smart because everyone sucks her dick. She's not. She's an idiot.
Yeah, it turns out she really wants a fucking change of pace, to be honest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She wants a guy to tell her that she ain't shit because she knows that she ain't shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one of my best reels is like women get confused when you compliment them because they're not that great. You're sitting around trying to convince her that she's great. She doesn't make any fucking sense to her. That she thinks that you don't understand the fucking world if you think that she's great.
Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, the question that comes to my mind is, I guess I've been coaching since 2007. First, I was, you know, like an approach coach for a company called Pickup 101 back in the day. And then I started my own company called Inner Confidence, and more sort of in the inner game. My business partner was like a hypnosis or hypnotherapist and whatnot. But I was always a little bit skeptical of like the inner game coaching. The way that I got over my, you know, insecurities and whatnot was just a shitload of reps. I did thousands and thousands of approaches.
Yeah, you got to eat shit a lot. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I ate a lot of shit. Surrounded myself with guys like you who had really good frames and saw women in a more sort of realistic viewpoint. I slowly but surely adopted a frame that worked, right? And the challenge when I come across a client is always like, okay, how can we turn this guy he's a simp, he's a nice guy, he's he believes in the Disney princess fairy tale, he's got all this he's plugged into the matrix, you could say, right? How do we take this guy out of that? How do we get him out of that? And there's a lot of different, I guess, ways to skin a cat, I guess, but do you have any thoughts on that? Like the best approach?
Cognitive behavioral therapy. I introduce the clicker and I try to help them understand the loop that they go into and basically like Skinner's work. I think his last name was Skinner. The guy who wrote No More Mr. Nice Guy, whatever his name was.
Oh yeah. I interviewed him on the show.
Oh no shit. Yeah. So I've never read any of his shit, but apparently my whole nice guy boot camp, everyone's like, oh, you got this idea from this guy. I'm like, no, convergent genius, no, like what is it called? Like independent converging ideas or some shit. So okay. I just kind of arrived at the kind of methods and systems that
Robert Glover is his name.
Yeah, Robert Glover. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So never read his stuff, but apparently the shit that I teach is basically what he was talking about. Basically, you just identify this stimulus that takes you into these nice guy, because look, nice guy behaviors is just a coping mechanism to get rid of shame, awkwardness, fear, right? A lot of people, they use a lot of different ways to cope. A lot of people lash out. A lot of people like laugh or self-soothe or disappear or withdraw or isolate. But a lot of guys just like people please and do conflict avoidance. This has to do with some fucking attachment style wound, blah, blah, blah. But basically, if you just identify this initial stimulus that puts you into this loop with the clicker, I'm talking about hyper clinical awareness of the fucking patterns that you're going into. Only once you are hyper clinically aware of that shit can you start to introduce replacement behaviors and basically build a callus around it so that you, instead of going into these loops of nice guy behavior, you train yourself out of it. Like it's almost Pavlovian.
Right. So you have to first become aware of your patterns, see what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. I tell the story of the Buddhist monk that was addicted to potato chips, and his guru told him just eat potato chips and like concentrate on it. So he just like hyper focused, almost in a meditative state of like clinical awareness of the texture of the potato chip. And like every time he ate it, he was simply just like meditating on the mouthfeel. And eventually he became so disgusted. He felt like this was so absurd that he eventually like stopped eating potato chips because of his hyper awareness of it.
Yeah. And what you said earlier, I wanted to pull this thing up. You can see this, right?
Yeah.
It was kind of similar to what you're talking about in terms of how women age out very quickly and men effectively become better with age, like fine wine. And I've seen this. I've got clients in their early 60s who are absolutely crushing it with women in their, early 20s. Were you, almost ever married before, Yeah,
I was engaged to a really fucking hot girl, and I went to China for study abroad for my engineering degree for 2 months, and I came back and she just wasn't the same girl. She linked up with her old friend group and she just didn't treat me the same, and I just fucking disappeared on her in the middle of the fucking night and never looked back. But we were engaged. We were together for 3 years.
Wow. What led you to understanding that you were about to effectively, get shit on and allowed you to sort of pull the plug on that?
Basically, just like she started telling me the opinions of her friends as if they were hers now. You know what I mean? I was like, any old group of friends and you have a new boyfriend, you're going to get shit on, bro. Like, so I just basically said, look, I'm not going to fucking put up with this. I need to fucking, if I'm going to, look, I'm engaged to you. You aren't my ride or die. This doesn't make any sense. I can't be here.
Okay. Gotcha. And then after that, that's when you sort of saw like...
That's when I got into RSD. That was about 2014.
Got it.
Yeah, I got into RSD to get over this bitch.
I see. So real quick, if you've ever gotten any value from the show and you have some wingmen or buddies that you think would get value too, I want to make a request. Let them know. Simply ask the other guys in your life if they've ever heard of this podcast. And if not, send them the episode. That way, they're going to learn exactly what you're learning right now, and it could help you cultivate a perfect wingman. And if you decide to go as far as tagging me and sharing me on social media, please let me know. And be sure to tag me at Robbie_Kramer. And I would love to say hi. Shoot me a line. So that's my only ask today. If you've ever gotten value here, please spread the word. All right, let's get back to the show. So a couple guys in the group had questions that they wanted me to ask you. The first one's from Alex, the guy that we know. All right, so we all know about roster and rotation goals for helping curb neediness and keeping a guy's frame healthier with any girl. What do you see as the ultimate step-by-step workflow for eventually meeting and retaining an amazing woman that can be taken seriously and even into an eventual healthy long-term relationship?
Yeah, I think the girl that you end up with, she has to be okay with the fact that you are polygynous and that you will want variety at some point. She has to be okay with this. I think, and I think she has to say the words, "I want to be your wife." She has to declare this. If you are the one that is pursuing a marriage with her, most women will just say yes, but they're not, but their heart isn't in it, right? That's why I say men should never initiate the relationship, because a lot of women, they're just passive and they will just accept it with one foot in the door only, right?
Oh, yeah.
So your woman has to have this genuine burning desire, this fire inside of her that is driving her to say the words, "I want to be your wife," because you're not marrying a wife, you're marrying the mother of your children. So you have to be very fucking cutthroat and ruthless with your vetting. And basically, what do you want in a woman? And does she say that she wants to be your wife and mother to your children? If all of these are true, then I say go ahead.
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake the guys make when they do land a girl that they're excited about is they try to get the girl into the relationship, and then they're fucked.
Yeah, it's not the way that the way that God planned it. You know,
exactly. And then they hide behind, well, I'm trying to date with intentionality. And it's like, bro,
I told him to shut the fuck up.
Seriously.
Yeah, the woman needs the intentionality. You need to be here, laser focused on your mission.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's her job to play the relationship card, right?
Exactly. Yeah. She's the builder of a relationship. You build the world that she needs to be a part of.
Yeah, and guys just don't want to hear that. Like, oh man, especially when they're hung up on a girl. Because I get guys with just terrible one-itis, and it's always for a girl who broke their heart. And I ask them, so who initiated the relationship? Who wanted to be the monogamous one? I did, right? I was leading. No, you weren't, bro.
Yeah, no, you weren't. You're the leader of the relationship. Kind of. Look. The man should not be the architect of emotional depth within the fucking relationship. You aren't like. You shouldn't care about the emotional depth of the relationship because you're so fucking focused on your mission. Like, yeah, yes, you love your woman, you would die for her, protect and provide for her, but like, are you like, oh baby, I'm the only one for you? This is just like repressing your natural masculine urge to spread your seed. It just doesn't make any sense to her female brain.
Yeah,
she should be the one that's trying to lock you down. That's just the way. That's just the natural order.
Exactly. If she's not trying to lock you down, it just means that
she hasn't chose you yet.
She's not that impressed yet.
You're not that dude, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And if you want to lock her down, she has to choose you. If you're trying to make that happen,
that dude. Yeah, exactly. She is a mirror. She's gonna show you the weakest and worst parts of you. And if she is not choosing you for exclusivity, then you are not that dude.
So this kind of ties into when we were talking earlier about your Instagram and your image, right? We said you're kind of like an emoji. You're a character. And I tell all my clients that I work with, it's like, you've got to find what I call a shtick. My shtick is I'm a dating coach. I used to run trips for Playboy and, be this sort of like MC party host as well. And so when girls met me, they were like, who's this Robbie guy? Okay. He's this, crazy party guy. He hosts these parties. He's kind of like a cruise ship director. And, it was succinct with my Instagram. It was the whole thing sort of made sense.
Yeah, it's this unique identity that women can, they can slot you into some archetype that they have preformed in their mind. It's just a unique identity and also fitting into male archetypes.
Right. And it's also something that's girl relevant, right? So you could be like a DJ or, a musician or a photographer, right? These are, if if you have nothing and you're just like, I want girls, but I don't, I play golf every day, or
they have to have
play
an
chess.
idea of kind of who you are, right? They have to, because they think of men in terms of archetypes, really.
Right. So now that, you're Insta famous, for example, like, do you have a lot of incoming attention from women in terms of like groupies, or has that brought you really?
No, the algorithm shows my shit to only men. Like 98% of my audience is male. The algorithm just figured out that's who wants to see it the most. But yes. So some women, look, not fucking no 9s or 8s, mostly like 6s and 5s will be inboxing me like, please, I want you to choke me to death. Shit like that. You know what I mean? So, but that, I just ignore that shit, really. I don't even, look, let me be real. Talking about this shit, naming this shit is not hot. It's not.
We don't talk about Fight Club.
No. Yeah, this is some nerdy fucking shit only for men. This is like a men's club. Like the shit that I talk about, you should not be talking about this shit to women, right? I do this to help men, and I do this because I can blab and yap about it as much as I fucking want. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, women have no respect. They hang out at the finish line. They fuck the winners. They don't care about.
Yeah, they don't care about how they got there, bro.
Right.
No, I never talk about this shit to women ever. Literally never. I never name the game, because I actually just released this reel, and I think it's one of my best fucking concepts that I've came out with, is that so male power survives scrutiny. The source of male power is that it has to be named, like contracts, hierarchies, like, it has to be named, and their power is structural and it survives scrutiny. But the mechanism of female power is that it cannot be named. Once you name it, it dissolves. The fact that their game is invisible, look, them behaving as if there is no power dynamic constitutes the power dynamic. You know what I mean? So men naming this power dynamic, or basically talking about talking about the red pill to women, it
takes away their
so
power.
lost on them. It is so lost on them, and they don't get it. It's not like, so men they're on the red pill treadmill, they're trying to fucking explain to women why their games are like hurtful, or like thinking, I guess I'm gonna wake the woman up, but the woman doesn't comprehend, because she just experiences this shit as pure feeling. She is not logical in any fucking way about it, right? So you have to understand it quietly. That's what I tell guys. You have to understand it thoroughly and just quietly.
And even if they agree, like, let's say you lecture a woman and you tell her about all these, distinctions and topics, even if she agrees with it, it won't even fucking matter, because she'll understand that, like, that as long as I just, test men and use my emotional, advantage on them, none of that understanding, none of that logic fucking matters, because I know I'm more powerful at the end of the day.
Logically, like, evaluating her behaviors that she's been doing and her ancestors have been doing for millennia, she's not going to start thinking like that. You just have to let women be women, understand the mechanisms quietly, and learn how to basically like judo these bitches and leverage what you understand about them for your benefit.
Yeah, I think so many guys are hung up on, like, finding this virginal, perfect church-going girl and blah blah blah. And I try to tell these guys, I'm like,
so they're trying to invent a fictional woman that has an arousal system that rewards their fucking nice guy behavior, and this is a fictional woman that does not exist at all. This is a woman with no complexity and no capacity to hurt them. She's not even a complete person. That woman can't exist. Basically, look, red pill guys that want the Virgin Mary, they want a woman that has not tasted what it means to be alive. That's what they want. They want a woman that cannot hurt them.
Yeah, it's absurd. And they think they're going to find her. And what I'm trying to tell these guys is, like, you don't find the perfect girl. You make the perfect girl for you, because she follows your rules. She plays your game. You lead the way, and you're the guy saying, like, okay, it's my way, or you can find another guy. It's up to you.
Yeah, right. This pair bonding bullshit with, like, high body count women are always going to cheat. No, dude, they're not. They're gonna be hypergamous. What they're gonna do. So if they cannot replace you, they will not leave you. They will literally. You can turn a hoe into a housewife if you are that dude.
Exactly. And there's so many guys that want to opt out of learning that shit, and then they just want to jump into a relationship. It's like, dude, you're fucked. If you get in a relationship not knowing game, you're not only are you going to get divorced, you're going to get railroaded financially, probably not going to see your kids. You're entering a world of pain.
It's not even her fault. Like, she doesn't want to become this evil version. It's just that you hand over the power and they lack the emotional regulation to wield power responsibly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and there's no sense in even blaming women for this at all. They're just being women. They're like, they're literally doing what you would do if you were them.
Yeah, they're not evil. They're women.
Exactly. So the follow-up question he asked, are long-term committed relationships a dying breed? Is the future for a masculine, high-value man that knows his shit to always have a 5 to 10 side chick, rotation perpetually, who all want the same guy?
No, I say just two. Just a main and a side is good enough. Anything more than that is a fucking headache. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So I would say 0 or 2, because one leads to one-itis. 0, you can lock in on your mission, and 2, if you can always, you're just more okay to walk away. You're more willing to walk away. You just always need to be more willing to walk away. That's the source of all male power.
I thought I would never be in a monogamous relationship again. When I was like 37, 38, I had a body count somewhere between 300 and 400, had all sorts of relationships, anything you could name, I had tried it,
Right.
Dated a girl and we had,
except for with a dude,
exactly. Swinger girlfriend for a long time, multiple girlfriends living with me at the same time. And before I was into this, I was a raging golf nerd. Didn't quite get to like professional level, but played, NCAA in college and whatnot. And I didn't care about girls when I was into golf. And then funny enough, I had kind of gotten to a point in like around the age of 38 where I'm like, every time I am excited about a girl and then we start hooking up, as soon as I just continue doing what I'm doing, I start to lose my interest in her a bit, because I'm having more girls. And then I stop being like, it's very hard for me to focus on work and girls, right?
Yeah, spending your time with girls is a lot like doing drugs. It doesn't do much for you, and it keeps you away from getting shit done. Like, you can spend all day with a girl. What have you essentially done? You're just having a drug experience. It's just dopamine and oxytocin and vasopressin. You're just taking drugs, having sex and nutting. Like, you can't get anything done.
And when you're doing drugs in conjunction with that, which is what I was doing, then you're really getting nothing done.
It's addictive too. It's just addictive spending all your time with a bitch.
Totally. Yeah. So ultimately, when I met the girl who's now my wife, she was an interesting girl because she had the characteristics that got me excited. Like, she was social, she was outgoing, she was fun, but she was also a nerd. She, preferred playing online chess than going to a nightclub. But she would show up to the nightclub and have fun, right? So you would never know that about her. And then when we started, hanging out, we were friends first, and we had a mutual friend. That's how we met, through my social circle. And she knew I was like just an absolute, cad and a player and all that stuff. And she was like, okay, whatever. She warned her friend about me, and the friend's like, it's fine. He like, Robbie's dick is for everyone. He like, all these girls love him. It doesn't matter, right? But eventually we both, she sort of became addicted to golf like I was, and she got me back into golf. So now we kind of have this addiction together, and we build stuff around golf and whatnot. But it's great. I got to the point where I was like, okay, if I could either choose one and then focus on everything else in my life that I want to, or I could stay on this sort of dopamine, hamster wheel of fucking and getting high and having fun and having variety and novelty. And so eventually I was like, I just don't care anymore. And
I've came so much. Right. Eventually you just realize that it just feels good, So do you want to have a kid or not? Do you want to build this legacy or not? I think that the way that's going to manifest for me is that I'm probably going to find a woman that wants to have a child with me outside of having a relationship, like almost like a business arrangement about rearing it. I think that's the best way. That's, in my mind, a cool way to do it. Who knows how it's going to play out?
I've seen that work. I had a buddy who is a French guy, worth close to $1 billion. And he effectively, you know, he found a girl who he thought would be a good mother, you know, and then they had a couple kids, and he has, you know, basically his arrangement to do whatever the fuck he wants when he wants to. And, you know, he takes care of her, and she's totally comfortable. And, you know, sometimes they fool around with other girls, sometimes they don't, or most of the time they don't. He's kind of off doing, you know, living his life and
doing billionaire stuff. Yeah,
exactly. Skiing, you know, hella skiing and hanging out in Dubai and whatnot. But yeah, and I've seen that work for a lot of other guys that are not a lot, but like a few select guys who can pull it off.
It takes a lot of resources, obviously. Yeah, I definitely need to have. I need to have kids. It's literally the goal as a human, right?
Right.
I have to
actually haven't announced
I have
this.
to fulfill this biological benchmark.
Yeah, I haven't announced this yet. I guess I'll do it now. We've got a little girl on the way.
Hey, congratulations, bro.
Thanks, man. Yeah. So my wife.
So that how are you gonna raise a girl?
Dude, I think it's like you know, God or higher power, whatever you believe in. I think it was like his way of saying, you know, to me, like I knew it was gonna be a girl just based on, you know, like this work. It's like, you know, here's your challenge. And I've always loved women. I've never had like any sort of chip on my shoulder. You know, my mom's great. I have 2 little sisters, and you know, I've never been this.
I have a healthy relationship with women. Like guys think I'm a misogynist. No, I'm not. I love women.
You're just realistic. Exactly.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I understand them.
And yeah, I'm stoked because, you know, they always say like being a girl dad, you know, you've got a stronger connection. You know, the girls tend to get closer with the dad. The boys get a little closer with the mom.
I would teach my little girl how to manipulate men. Honestly.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, bro, like I would want my little girl to grow up to be a powerful woman, you know?
Exactly. And if you're just like you know, my wife, her dad is amazing. He's, you know, played chess with him. He's like, you know, he's a dude's dude. And she grew up with that like loving father figure. And I see, you know, it's, you know, daddy issues. It's almost like a trope, right? It's so painfully obvious. Like the girls who struggle with attachment issues and who make the worst partners, like they never have like a loving father figure.
Yeah. I think they never really learned how to respect a man.
Exactly. I think that's the crux of it. Well said. Yeah. It's just like, they see men as like, yeah, they're lame. They don't show up for them. They're like,
yeah. So yeah, men or women that have had a good father, they are usually good. They're good partners. Like they understand what it means to respect. I mean, you have to live up your end of the bargain. You have to be that guy that she is obsessed with. But if you are that guy, she's going to treat you really well.
Right. Yeah. And she's got a model for what a guy should look like, you know, like what a good role model should look like. So it's hard to find, you know, it's hard to find a girl that doesn't have daddy issues. So, so the women that, you know, you've dated recently and whatnot, how, you know, what are your dating funnels look like, for a lack of a better word? Like, how do they come into your life if you're not getting them from the Instagram groupie angle?
It exists. Social circle. Just I know a lot of people. I used to be like, most of my lay count comes from like the EDM rave scene in Detroit.
Yeah.
Basically, I would just go with like a pretty bitch that I was even just like friends with, that I just hung out with. And I would basically friend zone and not show intent with any of the girls in the scene. And I would have a girl with me. And then like 3 Wednesdays later, I wouldn't have a girl with me and I still haven't shown any intent. And all of these girls in the scene are like, why hasn't this guy that obviously can get a girl, why hasn't he shown me any intent? And they're all very fucking curious. So basically from there, you just pick the ones that are the most compliant and you fucking pluck them into your bedroom.
Yep.
That's how I did it. And then, so, well, the girl that I'm like seeing right now was a sugar baby. And I flipped her and and for a while before this shit popped off and I started making money, she was supporting me with fucking like her sugar baby fund, you know? But she's great. She's actually fucking great, bro. Like she's extremely hypergamous. She's a hoe, bro. She's a fucking sugar baby. She's a fucking hoe, bro. But she has 2 BBLs, bro. But she's obsessed with me, bro. She'll do anything for me. She'll spend all her fucking money on me, bro. Like, so
you know, after racking up a ton of experience, I realized like if a girl isn't at least aware of the sugar baby lifestyle, I can't date her. right? Like she's just too green to the world. Like, if she hasn't exercised or at least understood that she could exercise her pussy pass, like we're just never going to understand each other.
I think that they somehow deep down they understand it if they're beautiful, but they're too the mechanism has to remain super invisible in their mind, right? They understand it, it's deep down, but they can't bring themselves to speak it out loud. And also I think this is dishonest. I like a woman that's at least a little bit honest about the mechanism.
For sure. Yeah, it's like, okay, we both know the game. We both know you're getting offers from this, disgusting guy with money to go to his whatever on his jet or,
and we can both laugh at it together. Right. Yeah.
And then the guys who are willing
to fucking intimidated by it. Like, why, bro? She's choosing you.
And it's the best when you know that she's spending their money on you. So it's satisfying. Got it. So yeah, I mean, I'm so glad you said that because I'm hounding all my guys in my community. Stop showing intent. Stop chasing these girls. Friend zone everybody, right? Yeah. Like
friend zone girls. Test for compliance and then show intent once they show compliance. It's really that easy.
Yeah, and just mirror their behavior, and just let that flow all the way into them basically.
If you're okay with just being friends with her, this confuses her. This makes her think that you're fucking something special. She thinks that she has to get you now. She needs that intent to feel validated. You haven't validated the bitch yet.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, that's how they fall in love, right? They fall in love with a guy that they have to feel is too good for them. Like if she thinks she's getting, you're getting the better end of the deal, like you're cooked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, there's one more question in the group that someone posted. Jay asked, curious to hear his view on what the best blueprint is to lead a fulfilling, well-rounded life as a man today. And here we talk about using social circle as a way to combine socializing, dating, and even a business networking opportunity into one. That's what I was talking about with your shtick. Other people just focus on one thing at a time or get really good at one, dating funnel, like, day game, for example, which I think is crap. Others might say to focus on making money and the rest will fall into place after. So how does he think, or how do you think is the optimal way to set up your dating life and focus your attention to live the most fulfilling life?
So I think that you do need some kind of you need lead acquisition, you need lead flow, however that manifests for you, social circle, day game, a cold approach, dating. I think dating apps is the best way. You just have to get really good photos. All that matters is really good photos. If you get really good photos, your dating apps is going to get you a lot of dates and probably even find your fucking future wife.
Now, do you think if a guy's too old or too short?
No, it all depends on the photos. Your photos have to paint a picture that this bitch wants to be a part of. It doesn't even matter how hot you are. Like, is your life cool? That's all that it cares about. And you have good taste and she can see your face very clearly and you're not hyper chopped. You know how to dress, you have some masculinity, you have some demonstration of high value.
There's some conflicting advice when it comes to, like dating photos, for example. It's like, because you could show social proof in photos, right? But then, a lot of the guys who specialize, I'm not like an online dating specialist, for example. So like there's always a conversation in the group between, and this guy who wrote the post, he's very good at online dating. Like but he's not satisfied with the quality. He basically never gets above a 7.
He needs better photos.
You think? Because I feel like he's close to optimized as good, but he's not showing any social proof. Would you recommend showing social proof in photos?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. They need to look. They have to be like, ooh, I want to be a part of this guy's life. That's it. They have to be. And that probably has some social proof in it.
Yeah, when I was using online dating for a minute, like it was a couple photos of me and then me at Burning Man with 5 hot girls and another dude, me on a yacht with like 8 girls and like 2 other friends. Like, so they were tasteful. It wasn't like, I have a photo with me and 18 girls around me half naked, but I was like, okay, that's a little too aggro maybe, but it was very social proof geared. And there's a lot of guys who are like, no, I don't think that's, I think girls don't want that. But my thoughts have always been like, nah, the ones that you want, they do want that.
Bro, my Hinge profile is literally me with a girl. I have 5 or 6 photos with 6 different girls, just me and 6 different girls. That's my fucking
screen share.
I'm banned from Hinge, but
okay.
But
it's you and
that's what it
six-
was. Literally me with 6 other girls.
Okay, that's so funny because it's like breaking the quintessential rule.
The testing starts immediately. It's just like, you know what I mean? But then all you have to do is just pass the test like a fucking champ, and then they're like, all right, I get you're probably, look, girls like you. I might as well.
I'm so glad you told me this because I'm gonna crush all these guys in the group who are like, no, you can't do that. Like, you can't show a girl.
But here's the thing: it invites women that just want to test. The tests are gonna be fucking crazy, immediately high. But look, if they're testing you, they're interested.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, okay, but anyway, so the lead flow, however the lead flow manifests, whatever. Okay, you're getting your lead flow in with women. Here's the key part. You need a solemn purpose. Basically, you need something that, if you do not have this solemn purpose, and this usually manifests as a man building something or helping someone, right? It could be career, it could be whatever, but you have this solemn purpose, because in the modern era, it's so impossible for anything to like sink its teeth into us and grab our attention and where we never let our attention go. This literally is, you have to have an obsession. If you do not have this obsession, that obsession will become women, and that will drive every woman out of your life. You have to have this obsession that you can pivot to and pour yourself into. That's it. You need purpose. You need a mission.
Yeah, very well said. Because if you make women your purpose, good luck. And I think your purpose, even like mine, was always helping guys, effectively being, leader of men, and to figure this stuff out for myself. And women, they'd test me like, oh, you're a dating coach? That's weird. Like, who does that? But they would see they wouldn't even see it. They would just feel that it was legit and they thought it was cool. So
yeah, right. Yeah, your purpose could be curating a dope life for yourself. That's fine.
Yeah. Exactly.
But it has to be something that you can, that once you get heartbroken by a woman, you can pivot and pour all of your energy into this thing and just pour yourself into this thing. You have to have this thing, or else you're gonna make women your thing.
Right. Yeah, David Data said, I think in The Way of Superior Man, that even if your purpose is finding your purpose, that qualifies.
It does, yeah.
Dude, where can people find you? Obviously, I'll drop your Instagram link and all your links in the show notes. But for the people listening, tell us where they can get more.
I'm trying to pour all my energy into growing my YouTube, which is at Bitches Ain't Shit, with BXTCHES ain't shit, and bitchesaintshit.com, spelt the same way.
Great conversation. Really enjoyed it.
For sure, it was dope.
I'll cut up a bunch of reels and tag you on those, and we'll talk soon.
Rock and roll. Thanks for having me, bro.
Out of all the guys I know, the only ones who managed to consistently win the game are those who built and invested in a high-status social circle. You can certainly approach women and try your luck on the apps if you're a Chad, but those strategies simply don't work consistently to attract top-tier women and awesome friends into your life. But for most guys, the idea of building a social circle can feel overwhelming, so they continue to hunt for women in their usual ways and end up settling for a girl they were never really that excited about in the first place. To avoid this fate, join our community and instantly plug into a highly vetted social circle of cool dudes to network and navigate your journey with. You already know it's hard to find wingmen because the good ones don't stay in the game very long. Many of our members travel together, end up living together, build amazing circles, and even businesses together, both in the West and in many of the best locations around the globe with gorgeous women and low cost of living. I'm extremely careful who I let into this community, but if you feel like you'd make a good fit, you can apply to join. The link's in the description.